The life and crazy adventures of Hercules. Hello, dear mythology enthusiasts. Today, I would like to share some legends from the extraordinary life of Hercules, who is part human and part god, with his remarkable powers. I believe and know that there is not anyone among you who has not heard the name Hercules. You probably know him to some extent from movies, series, and mythological sources. I hope you enjoy watching and listening to this presentation that I have compiled and prepared for you without getting bored.
Who is Hercules? Known as Hercules by the Romans, Heracles possesses extraordinary strength. His strength and resilience, along with his sharp intelligence, symbolize invincibility against nature. Hercules, who stands out for his strength in mythology, is referred to as Heracles in Greek mythology. Birth and childhood of Hercules. Hercules was not a god, he was born as a mortal. However, like many mythological heroes, he had a complex family tree. According to the legend, his father was Zeus, the ruler of all Greek gods on Mount Olympus and mortals in the world. His mother was Alcmene, the daughter of the king of Mycenae and the wife of Amphitryon, a descendant of the hero Perseus. Zeus, wanting to be with the beautiful Alcmene, descends from Mount Olympus to the city of Thebes. There, he assumes the guise of Amphitryon. Everyone welcomes him, thinking that the king has returned from the war. Alcmene, thinking her husband has returned, joyfully greets Zeus in the form of Amphitryon. They come together, and Zeus achieves his goal. Alcmene is now pregnant. The child to be born is the demigod hero Hercules. During this process, at the request of Zeus, Alcmene, who is also pregnant with her husband, will give birth to twins and will not experience childbirth pains for the second time. Hera, Zeus's wife, who is aware of the situation, will never cease to be angry with Hercules. Hercules' enemies have already started making plans for him before his birth. One of his greatest enemies is Hera, Zeus's wife. Extremely jealous Hera becomes very angry with Zeus's infidelities, and when she hears the news of Hercules' birth, she begins to make plans. First, she tricks Zeus into swearing that the first child born of the lineage of Perseus will rule. At that moment, Sthenelus, the wife of Eurystheus, who is descended from Perseus, is pregnant. Zeus agrees to this, unaware of Hera's plans. Hera immediately finds Sthenelus, who is descended from Perseus and also pregnant. Alcmene, in the midst of labor pains, is tied up and delayed by Hera, who brings in the goddess Eileithyia. Hera finds Eileithyia and ensures that Sthenelus gives birth prematurely. Thus, the first child born of the lineage of Perseus is not Hercules but the son of Sthenelus, Eurystheus. As a result, Hera has taken away the throne right from Hercules before he is even born, and Eurystheus is guaranteed to become the king of Mycenae. Not content with eliminating Hercules' right to the throne with a cunning plan, Hera does not stop there and tries to kill baby Hercules after his birth. When Hercules is only 8 months old, lying in his cradle with his brother Iphicles, Hera sends 2 snakes to kill him. Iphicles, being mortal, is afraid and starts crying. However, Hercules is unusually strong and fearless. Before the snakes can strangle him, he kills them by squeezing their necks. When this event is told to the oracles, they proclaim that Hercules has divine powers and will be the strongest of men. Hercules nursing from Hera and the Milky Way. After all this, Hera does not rest and seizes the opportunity to destroy Hercules. Alcmene, fearing this, leaves baby Hercules in a place far from the palace in Thebes, where there are fields and forests. Zeus, aware of this situation, plans for Hercules to be fed. He explains the situation to Athena, who, along with Hera, sets out on a journey. Athena takes her to where baby Hercules is. When she sees the baby, she acts surprised and saddened, asking Hera to breastfeed the baby. When Hera begins to breastfeed Hercules, he sucks so strongly that Hera feels great pain. In her haste, she throws the baby to the ground, and milk continues to spurt from Hercules' suckled breast. It goes so far that it forms the constellation we know as the Milky Way in the sky. There is another version of Hercules nursing from Hera. Zeus also wanted his son to be breastfed by a goddess and thus gain divine power. For this reason, he tells Hermes to bring Hercules to Olympus. Hermes does as he is told and brings Hercules. Zeus brings the child close to Hera's chest as she sleeps to breastfeed. Hercules sucks until he is satisfied, but even after he stops sucking, milk continues to flow from Hera's breast due to his strong sucking. The milk still flowing from Hera's breast falls from Olympus, creating the Milky Way, and what falls to the ground causes the emergence of white lilies. Hercules' youth. Hercules grows over time and receives education in various fields. He learns literature from Apollo's son Linus, while Eumolpus teaches him to play the lyre. Eurydice teaches him archery, the use of the bow, horseback riding, and Hercules becomes a great warrior. After a while, Hercules, driven mad when he doesn't fully dedicate himself to literature, kills Linus after a dispute. Amphitryon, his father, sends him into exile in the mountains for his son to mature. Hercules, running in the mountains, becomes stronger day by day. When Hercules turns 18, he accomplishes his first major feat by killing the Scythiaronian lion, which was causing harm to his father's and neighbor King Thespius' herds, gaining fame. He kills the soldiers of the Orchomenian kingdom, who come to collect taxes from Thebes. Learning about this, King Erginus of Orchomenos returns with his army seeking revenge. Hercules, leading the Theban army, changes the course of rivers, drowning the enemies and killing the remaining soldiers. In return, the king of Thebes gives his daughter Megara as a reward to Hercules. They marry, and many gods give gifts to Hercules. They later have 3 children. Time passes. Hera, who doesn't give up on Hercules, continues her dirty tricks. One day, while Hercules is playing with his children, Hera casts a spell on him, causing him temporary madness. In his madness, Hercules kills all 3 of his children. When he regains his sanity, he is deeply saddened and pleads with Apollo for punishment. Apollo, aware that Hercules' crime is not his fault, knows of Hera's vengeful actions. Nevertheless, he goes to the Oracle of Delphi to find out what Hercules must do to cleanse himself of sin and be forgiven. At the Delphi Oracle, it is revealed that the only solution for Hercules to cleanse himself of sin and guilt is to serve under King Eurystheus of Mycenae. Hercules must fulfill every wish of the king for 12 years to atone for his sins. Apollo, on behalf of Zeus, declares that once Hercules completes all tasks, he will be cleansed of his sin and attain immortality. Hercules goes as instructed and starts serving. After a while, Eurystheus becomes jealous of Hercules and fears his strength, seeing him as a major rival for the throne. Consequently, he assigns Hercules 10 dangerous tasks that he believes are impossible and would lead to Hercules' death. Although Hercules completes all the challenging tasks, King Eurystheus does not accept the tasks related to the Lernaean Hydra and the Augean stables, giving him 2 more tasks. Thus, Hercules' legendary 12 labors, involving encounters with various fascinating and terrifying creatures, leave their mark on mythology. These 12 tasks assigned to Hercules by the king of Mycenae are called the 12 labors of Hercules in mythology. The tasks are as follows. Hercules' 12 labors. 1. Killing the Nimian lion. 2. Killing the Lernaean Hydra. 3. Capturing the Hind of Serenia with golden antlers. 4. Capturing the Erymanthean boar. 5. Cleaning the Augean stables. 6. Driving away the Stymphalian birds from the lake in Arcadia. 7. Capturing the Cretin bull. 8. Taming the man-eating horses of Diamides. 9. Obtaining the magic girdle of Amazon Queen Hippolita. 10. Stealing the cattle of Jiran. 11. Bringing the golden apples of the Hesperides. 12. Retrieving Cerberus from the Underworld. Now, let's go through the tales of these fascinating tasks one by one, visualize them, and accompany Hercules on his journey. 1. Killing the Nimian lion. King Eurystheus tasked Hercules with bringing the skin of the Nimian lion as his first labor. Some storytellers claim that this magical beast's father was Zeus. This lion terrorizes the Peloponnesian forests, holding women hostage and devouring them alive when a man comes to rescue them. Armed with his bow and a club, Hercules sets out to confront the lion. Upon arrival, he encounters a child who informs him that unless Hercules sacrifices the lion to Zeus within a month, the child will offer himself as a sacrifice to the lion. Hercules rejects this proposal, declaring he will not allow it and will capture the lion. The lion, hearing them, escapes to a cave with 2 entrances, fearing Hercules' courage. Hercules seals one entrance with rocks and enters the cave. The lion, upon seeing Hercules, attacks with its mane raised. Despite shooting numerous arrows, Hercules' arrows are ineffective against its impenetrable fur. Finally, using his club, Hercules stuns the lion by striking its head and then strangles it by grasping its throat. Although he wants to wash the lion's skin, nothing seems to cut it. Athena, disguised as an old woman, comes to Hercules' aid. She informs him that the only way to wash the skin is to use the lion's own claws and guides Hercules to do so. Following Athena's advice, Hercules successfully skins the Nimian lion, creating a cloak from its impenetrable hide. 30 days later, he presents himself before Eurystheus, who is said to have been terrified upon seeing Hercules in this attire. Hercules wears this lion's skin as armor for the rest of his life. 2. Killing the Lernaean Hydra. Hercules goes to the city of Lerna to kill the Hydra. This creature, a 9-headed serpent-like monster with poisonous breath, guards the entrance to the underworld and resides under a giant plane tree in the Amymone spring, placed there by Hera. The Hydra, also known as the Lernaean Hydra, is a child of Typhon and the monster goddess Echidna. According to some sources, its mother is Styx. The Hydra has 9 heads on its colossal body, and for each head Hercules cuts off, 2 more grow in its place. Athena suggests seeking help from his nephew Iolaus, who assists Hercules by burning the stumps with a torch, preventing new heads from emerging. Hercules then uses a golden sword given by Athena to slay the monster and buries the severed heads, placing a heavy rock on top. However, he preserves one head, coating his arrows with its venom, which plays a significant role in later events. Despite completing the task, Eurystheus refuses to acknowledge it, claiming assistance from Iolaus renders the task invalid. According to a legend, these poisoned arrows will eventually be Hercules' downfall, a story to be recounted in the later section of our narrative titled Hercules, Deianira, and Nessus. 3. Capturing the Hind of Serenia with golden antlers. Hercules embarks on a journey to capture the sacred hind of the goddess Diana. This golden-antlered, bronze-hoofed red hind is dedicated to Artemis and is known for its incredible speed. Eurystheus selects this task, anticipating that anyone attempting to steal Diana's sacred animal will be killed. Artemis blesses the hind, making it forbidden to kill. Angry at Hercules' previous successes, Eurystheus hopes that even if Hercules succeeds, Artemis will not forgive him. However, after Hercules explains the situation to the goddess, Artemis allows him to proceed without punishment. Hercules pursues the hind for a year, causing it to tire in Thrace and Greece. When the hind reaches the Artemisian mountains, it hesitates at the edge of the Ladon River in Arcadia. Hercules, taking advantage of the moment, lightly wounds the hind with an arrow, capturing it. On his way back, Hercules encounters Apollo and Artemis, seeking mercy and explaining the circumstances. He promises to return the hind, and to fulfill his vow, he releases the hind's leash prematurely, allowing it to escape and return to Artemis. Hercules blames the king for not holding the leash and claims to have completed the task. 4. Capturing the Erymanthian boar. Hercules was commanded to bring the Erymanthian boar alive from Mount Erymanthus. This wild boar, dedicated to Artemis, had been causing damage to many villages and fields. While visiting his old friend, the centaur Pholus, on the way to Mount Erymanthus, Hercules convinces Pholus to open a gift of wine from Dionysius. Pholus, unaware that the wine needs to be diluted before drinking, makes the mistake, attracting many centaurs, including Chiron, due to the scent. When the centaurs, intoxicated by the wine, start fighting, Hercules uses his arrows dipped in the blood of the Hydra to protect himself and Pholus. Immortal Chiron, unable to bear the pain of the poison, agrees to exchange his immortality with Prometheus, who is chained and tortured in Tartarus. Zeus accepts Chiron's offer, condemning him to be eaten alive by an eagle every day. However, Hercules refuses to accept this fate, kills the eagle with one of his poisoned arrows, and saves Chiron. During the fight with the centaurs, Pholus accidentally drops an arrow on his foot, leading to his death. After these events, Chiron, in gratitude, offers Hercules guidance on how to capture the Erymanthean boar. Armed with this information, Hercules searches and eventually engages in a deadly pursuit in the high mountains. Relentlessly chasing the boar without giving it a moment to rest, Hercules exhausts the creature, causing it to fall into a deep, snow-covered pit in a cave. He then binds the formidable beast's legs and takes it to Mycenae, presenting it before King Eurystheus. Upon seeing the terrifying wild boar, the king is said to have been horrified, hiding in fear inside a colossal statue. Some mythology sources suggest he hid in a barrel. 5. Cleaning the stables of King Augeas. King Augeas, ruling as the king of Elis in the Peloponnese, possessed the largest stables in the region. Augeas, the son of King Elis, was renowned for his vast and healthy herds of cattle, numbering over 3,000. This task, assigned as Hercules' fifth labor, aimed not to confront mythical creatures but rather to humiliate him. The stables, accumulating manure for 30 years, had not been cleaned. Hercules' challenge was to cleanse these stables, and King Eurystheus set a condition: Hercules had to accomplish the entire cleaning in a single day. Despite Hercules' previous feats in battling monsters and performing heroic deeds, King Eurystheus believed that this task, involving menial labor, would tarnish Hercules' image in the eyes of the people. Hercules, however, struck a deal with King Augeas, agreeing to cleanse the stables in exchange for 1/10 of the cattle. Hercules, not only strong and powerful but also clever, redirected the flow of the Peneus and Alpheus rivers to create a trench leading towards the stables. This strategic move allowed him to divert and clean the vast herd of approximately 3,000 animals in a single day. When the cleaning was complete, King Augeas, refusing to honor his agreement, failed to provide Hercules with 1/10 of the herd. In the ensuing conflict, Hercules killed Augeas. According to one legend, Eurystheus cancelled this task due to Hercules receiving payment, while another version suggests that it was cancelled because Hercules killed Augeas. 6. Driving away the Stymphalian birds from the lake in Arcadia. On the shores of Lake Stymphalos in Arcadia, there were birds that fed on human flesh, residing in the middle of a marsh surrounded by thorny bushes. These birds, dangerous due to using their feathers as arrows, were created by Ares. The birds had claws made of brass, sharp and metallic feathers, and their droppings were highly poisonous. Having been hunted by wolves before, the birds settled around this lake in the Arcadia region. Hercules' sixth task was to drive away these vicious birds from the area. The region where the birds were located was densely covered with forests. In this challenging task, the goddess Athena comes to Hercules' aid. Athena, engaging the services of the fire god Hephaestus, specifically has 2 magical rattles made of bronze for Hercules and presents them to him. The sound produced by these rattles has the unique property of frightening Ares birds, prompting them to come out of hiding. Utilizing the rattle gifted by the goddess Athena, Hercules manages to scare the birds out of their hiding places. As the birds emerge, Hercules uses arrows dipped in the poison from the Hydra's head, killing most of them. Those he couldn't kill fled the area. With Athena's assistance, Hercules successfully completes his 6th labor. 7. Bringing the Cretan bull. Hercules, for his 7th task, travels to Crete to bring back the Cretan bull. This bull had been sent by Poseidon to King Minos as a sacrifice. However, the bull was so majestic and powerful that the king couldn't bring himself to sacrifice it to the gods. Despite offering alternative sacrifices, Minos couldn't escape the wrath of Poseidon. Infuriated, Poseidon made the bull uncontrollable. To punish the king, Poseidon made Queen Pasiphae fall in love with the bull. The queen asked a craftsman to create a cow-shaped structure, entered it, and mated with the bull. This union resulted in the birth of the Minotaur, a creature with a human body and a bull's head, which later led to destructive consequences in the region. King Eurystheus orders Hercules to confront the Cretan bull. However, Hercules is instructed not to kill the bull but to capture it and bring it to Mycenae. Hercules accepts this new challenge, goes to the island of Crete, seizes the bull as soon as he sees it, catches it by the horns, ties it securely, and carries it on his back to present it before King Eurystheus. Witnessing the monstrous creature, the king, as usual, hides in fear inside a barrel. Later, he attempts to sacrifice the bull to Hera, but she rejects the offer, believing it would bring Hercules more fame and pride. Instead, Eurystheus sets the bull free, and the bull becomes known as the Marathon Bull after reaching Marathon. 8. Taming the wild horses of Diamides. Hercules' eighth task, assigned by King Eurystheus, is to steal 4 highly powerful horses belonging to Diamides, the Thracian king and son of Ares and Serenia. These horses are known to breathe fire like dragons, and their names are Podargos, Lampon, Xanthos, and Deinos. Diamides keeps these horses tethered with a bronze manger and feeds them human flesh. Eurystheus commands Hercules to tame these wild, man-eating horses and bring them to Mycenae. Hercules arrives in Thrace, traps the horses on a peninsula, digs a trench, fills it with water to separate the peninsula from the mainland, effectively turning it into an island. When King Diamides witnesses the situation and confronts Hercules, a fight ensues. Hercules, angered by Diamides' cruel actions, punishes and kills him, feeding his body to the horses. Consuming their master's flesh, the horses submit to Hercules' command and become tame. Hercules takes the horses and presents them to Eurystheus, who, in turn, dedicates them to Hera and sets them free. In an alternate version, Eurystheus sends the horses to Olympus as a sacrifice to Zeus, who rejects them and allows wolves and lions to devour them. In mythology, it is believed that Bucephalus, the horse of Alexander the Great, descended from these horses. 9. Obtaining the magic girdle of Queen Hippolyta of the Amazons. This magical girdle was a gift from the war god Ares to the Amazon queen Hippolyta. King Eurystheus' daughter, Admete, desires the magnificent girdle worn by the Amazon queen. To please his daughter, the king orders Hercules to retrieve the girdle. Hercules goes to Themyscira and expresses his wish to meet with the queen. When Hippolyta visits Hercules on his ship, he explains the task assigned by the king. Enchanted by Hercules' strength, beauty, and demeanor, the queen willingly offers the girdle. However, Hera once again intervenes, taking the form of an Amazon and spreading false rumors that Hercules intends to kill the Amazon queen. This misinformation leads to a conflict between Hercules and the Amazons. In an attempt to protect their leader, the women attack Hercules' fleet. Feeling betrayed and deceived, Hercules, in a fit of anger, kills Queen Hippolyta. He takes the girdle and departs. 10. Stealing the cattle of Jiran. King Eurystheus assigns Hercules his 10th task, to steal the cattle of Jiran. Jiran, the son of Chrysaor and Callirrhoe, is a giant residing on the Erytheus island in the Hesperides, western Mediterranean. Guarding Jiran's herd is Orthrus, a 2-headed dog and brother to Cerberus, the guardian of the Underworld. Jiran, with 3 connected heads at his waist and 6 legs, possesses a herd of red cattle. To reach Erytheus, Hercules must traverse the Libyan desert. Frustrated by the heat and sun during his journey, Hercules, in a fit of anger, shoots one of his well-known arrows at the sun. Impressed by Hercules' courage, the sun god Helios offers him a golden cup that transports him to his destination. Hercules arrives at Erytheus and confronts Orthrus, whom he kills with his club. Simultaneously, he encounters Jiran's shepherd Eurytion and dispatches him as well, seizing the cattle. Jiran, wearing 3 shields, carrying 3 spears, and wearing 3 helmets, pursues Hercules. In a battle, Hercules uses the arrows dipped in the Lernaean Hydra's blood from his first labor to kill the multi-headed monster. While on his way to Greece, a gadfly sent by Hera becomes a nuisance, causing chaos among the herd. Despite facing great challenges, Hercules manages to recover a portion of the herd and presents it to the king, successfully completing this task. 11. Retrieving the golden apples of the Hesperides. Goddess Gaia had given goddess Hera golden apples as a wedding gift. Hera planted these apples in a garden at the foothills of Mount Atlas in Africa and placed a dragon with 100 heads that never slept, known as the Hesperides, 3 nymphs named Aegle, Erethe, and Hesperitha, to guard them and prevent theft. It was said that those who consumed these golden apples would become immortal. The last apples stolen from this garden had led to the Trojan War. Hercules set out to obtain these golden apples. Since the location of the garden was unknown, Hercules first visited Nereus, the sea god known as the Old Man of the Sea, an expert in shape-shifting. Hercules found the sea god with silver hair and asked how to reach the golden apples. Nereus advised Hercules not to pick the apples himself but to have Atlas fetch them. Atlas, condemned to carry the heavens on his shoulders, was also the father of the Hesperides and the guardian of the garden. As a result, he could freely enter and exit the garden. When Hercules arrived at the gardens, he confronted Atlas. Offering to relieve Atlas of the burden on his shoulders, Hercules suggested swapping places. Atlas agreed, and as Atlas took over the celestial sphere, Hercules picked the apples. Seizing the opportunity, Hercules asked Atlas to hold the burden momentarily, claiming he needed to adjust his cloak. Trusting Hercules, Atlas placed the apples on the ground, and Hercules promptly took them and left. After showing the apples to the king and completing his task, Hercules returned them to their rightful place in the god's garden. 12. Fetching Cerberus from the Underworld. King Eurystheus tasked Hercules with capturing Cerberus, the three-headed, snake-tailed wild dog guarding the gates of Hades, and bringing him to the surface. For this final challenge, Hercules needed to venture into the underworld. Accompanied by Hermes, Hercules descended to the realm of Hades. Upon reaching the throne of the god Hades, Hercules explained the purpose of his journey. In response, Hades told Hercules that he could take Cerberus to the surface if he could defeat the dog without using weapons. Hercules, utilizing his superhuman strength, tightly seized the wild dog from the point where its 3 heads converged. Although Cerberus struggled for a while, it couldn't resist Hercules' strength and eventually yielded. Hercules promptly bound the dog and brought it out of the underworld to present it before King Eurystheus. Witnessing the 3-headed, snake-tailed wild dog, King Eurystheus, in fear, confined himself to a barrel. Trembling with fear, he implored Hercules to return Cerberus to the underworld immediately and declared that he would no longer be responsible for any tasks. Hercules returned the ferocious beast to the underworld and handed it over to Hermes. With all his tasks successfully completed, Hercules was no longer required to stay by Eurystheus' side. However, Hercules' trials and adventures did not end here. He went on to embark on many more adventures, including overturning Troy to rescue a princess, joining the Argonauts' expedition, fighting for control of Mount Olympus, and liberating Prometheus from his chains. After completing his tasks and returning to Thebes, Hercules, who had reached the age of 33, married off his wife Megara to his nephew Iolaus, claiming that their union brought him misfortune. Seeking a younger wife to bring him more luck, he set out on the roads. During his journey, he helped anyone who had fallen into hardship or injustice. Hercules and Eurytus, Hercules' new sin. When Hercules arrived in the realm ruled by King Eurytus, he had the chance to find a new wife. King Eurytus was renowned for his archery skills, believing that no one could outshoot him. He announced that he would marry his daughter Iole to anyone who could outshoot him. Upon learning this, Hercules immediately challenged Eurytus to a contest and, of course, proved himself superior in archery. However, he did not receive the promised reward, as the king broke his word. Enraged by this, Hercules went mad and, at that moment, threw Eurytus' son Iphitos off the walls, killing him. In an attempt to atone for this great sin, Hercules sought the guidance of the Oracle of Delphi. Although initially dissatisfied with the response from the temple, Hercules, angered again, considered going to another oracle. However, Apollo did not allow it, as Hercules' punishment was clear. To seek forgiveness for the committed murder, he had to be sold into slavery and give all his earnings to Eurytus for 3 years. Hercules and Omphale, Hercules' years of love-infused servitude. When Hermes took Hercules to the slave market with the intention of selling him, Queen Omphale of Lydia, a powerful and beautiful queen, saw him and bought him. Hercules, under Queen Omphale's ownership, began fulfilling all the orders given to him. Omphale, impressed by Hercules' actions in saving her kingdom from various troubles, fell in love with him. Hercules, in return, couldn't resist reciprocating the love. The enslaved Hercules and Queen Omphale began a romantic relationship. Hercules became so entangled in this love that he almost forgot who he was, his strength, and his power. Hercules was so deeply in love that he started spinning wool at Omphale's feet, temporarily forgetting the days when he instilled fear with the Nimian lion's skin and his club. However, this lifestyle did not last long. When he remembered who he was, perhaps when the blind fire of love extinguished, he wanted to be free from slavery. Omphale did not object and freed him. Hercules, Deianira, and Nessus. After gaining his freedom, Hercules continues his journeys. When he arrives in Aetolia, he encounters Deianira, the daughter of King Oeneus, who is famous for her beauty and archery skills. Hercules, upon seeing such a remarkable girl, cannot remain indifferent and wishes to marry her. However, another contender for Deianira's hand emerges, the river god Achilles. Despite Deianira's desire to marry Hercules, Achilles refuses to accept it. This leads to a great struggle between Hercules and Achilles. Achilles, confident in his ability to transform into any shape at will, attempts to frighten Hercules and defeat him. He transforms into a bull, but Hercules, experienced in dealing with such creatures, leaps onto him and breaks off one of his horns. Realizing he has no chance of victory, Achilles withdraws. Hercules and Deianira marry and set out for the city where they will live. To reach their destination, they must cross the mighty river Ivenus. There, they encounter Nessus, a centaur, half human, half horse, assigned by the gods to assist humans in crossing the river. They make an agreement, with Hercules carrying Deianira on Nessus' back for a safe passage. While Deianira crosses safely, Hercules swims across the river. Unbeknownst to Hercules, Nessus, a centaur, has not forgotten Hercules' past deeds against centaurs. As Nessus carries Deianira to the other shore, Hercules swims, and despite the agreed terms, he throws his club and bow to the opposite bank. Seeing this, Nessus reneges on the deal and attempts to abduct Deianira, seeking revenge. Hercules, realizing the threat, quickly reaches the shore, prepares his bow, and shoots a poisoned arrow at Nessus from a distance of half a mile, piercing his chest. Realizing that his blood is poisoned, Nessus, on the brink of death, devises a plan for revenge. He tells Deianira that his blood is precious and magical. If you collect the spilled drops of blood, mix them with a little olive oil, you will create a love potion. If Hercules ever deceives you or his love for you fades, just smear the shirt with this blood, and fear not, Hercules will fall in love with you again forever, he says. Deianira believes him and saves some of Nessus' blood. The death of Hercules. At one point, Hercules decides to seek revenge against Eurytus, who had cheated and broken a promise in an archery contest. He razes and destroys the entire city, taking his beloved Iole with him. Meanwhile, his wife Deianira, living in Trachis, awaits him with longing, curiosity, and anxiety. When Hercules returns, he decides to offer a sacrifice to Zeus. He prepares and asks Deianira for a shirt. However, Deianira has learned about Iole and is furious. The ever-hateful goddess Hera seizes the opportunity to manipulate Deianira's mind, reminding her of Nessus' words and fueling her jealousy. To keep Hercules faithful, Hera suggests that Deianira should dress the shirt with Nessus' blood. Although Hercules has grown tired of his life in Trachis, he does not want to lose his beloved Hercules. With Hera's instigation, Deianira decides to use the love potion. She smears the shirt with Nessus' blood, thinking it will secure Hercules' eternal love. Little does she know that this act will lead to Hercules' complete loss. As soon as Hercules puts on the shirt, the poison in Nessus' blood is activated by his body heat. The shirt adheres to his skin, causing unbearable pain and agony. Attempting to remove the shirt, Hercules realizes that the more he pulls, the more his flesh tears. The poisoned garment inflicts excruciating suffering upon him. Hercules understands that only death can relieve his pain and, gathering wood, he begins to prepare his own pyre. On the summit of Mount Ida, Hercules uproots trees with his bare hands, cuts wood, and ignites the fire. He throws himself into the flames. As Hercules burns, lightning flashes all around. A lightning bolt in the sky strikes the firewood, and clouds rise. In the midst of the fiery ordeal, his father Zeus, unable to endure his son's plight any longer, intervenes. Hercules, purified by the flames of his sins, is saved by Zeus and brought to Olympus. Athena arrives and transports Hercules to Olympus in her chariot. Zeus keeps his promise, and Hercules is now immortal. According to the legend, Hercules begins to live among the gods on Olympus. Even Hera, once his fiercest enemy, forgives him for his heroics and marries him to her daughter Hebe.
Dear mythology enthusiasts, we have reached the end of our myth. I hope it has captured your interest and you haven't wasted your time. Until another myth, stay healthy. I would be grateful if you click the like button and subscribe to my channel. Respectfully.